What is going on? Welcome back. Episode 68 of the Third and 20 podcast. My name is Frank Entwistle. We got the main man, Mr. Steed. Steed, what's going on?
It's popping. Ready to get the show on the road.
All right, let's start off. College football, week 5. I want to start off with another loss for Wisconsin. This is a team that seems to be really good at losing games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so let's get into it. First things first, I think part of it is Michigan looked really good. I thought that it was interesting seeing Harbaugh be so aggressive on fourth down in this game. They had a flea flicker touchdown as well. So like Harbaugh was out there freaking calling it, dude. He was going out and playing this game to win, which was great. And then on the contrary, it seems like it's the same story over and over and over for Wisconsin. The offense is struggling. The special teams is having mistakes. 2 weeks ago against, was it Notre Dame they played 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Um, they had a kick return touchdown after they had taken the lead. Now this week they have a muffed punt that leads to points for Michigan. It's like problems on top of just the general turnovers from this
Mm-hmm.
football team. Um, Steed, what were your takeaways from this?
I thought it was just more of like a dominant win for Michigan, especially where they had a little bit of scare last week against Rutgers, only win by a tutty there. And, Wisconsin, again, this is weird seeing because, like, in our lifetime, we've never seen Wisconsin be this bad. But this is a team you have to beat up on. If you can get ahead of them, you win the ball game because then you could just control because they do have a good defense. And that's what Michigan was able to do. They got off to a 7-0 lead in the first quarter. It was 13-10 at halftime. It was some kind of ball game. I know Graham Mertz actually threw a touchdown pass. So, I guess that's a highlight. I'm pretty sure he got benched, though, or something like that. He only finished 8 for 15 uh, and 115 yards. A guy that, kind of high on coming in this year, just not been playing great
Well, part
ball.
of the problem is they just can't hold on to the football. I mean, so game, like you said, it was 13-10 going into halftime. Well, late third, early fourth quarter, they have a fumble and then a pick on back to back drives when I'm pretty sure Michigan had gone up 2 scores at that point. This is
That's
another
just a game
classic
killer.
game where Wisconsin's in the game in the first half. Come the second half, the offense makes mistakes, and then all of a sudden it's a blowout come the fourth quarter. And I kind of feel bad for the Wisconsin defense because this poor defense, like, they've been playing all right. They really haven't been bad by any
No,
stretch of the imagination.
it's a good unit, and they had a formal offense to go alongside them.
This would be a good football team. It really
Hey,
would.
I don't think they would lose to Notre Dame. I don't think they would probably lose to Michigan here, and they probably would have gave Penn State, first game of the year, a run for their money. I mean, even with that bad offense, they were in that game. So it's just at this point for Wisconsin, you're just fighting for a bowl game,
You're
and
fighting for a damn win, like
yeah,
anything.
I, it's they're down bad, really bad. But again, going back to Michigan, this is exactly where you want to be. You're undefeated, but still everybody's talking about Penn State. Everybody's talking about Ohio State. You're sitting in Michigan State
Iowa
even.
even too.
Oh, and Iowa is just. I mean, that's the biggest game of the year next week, but this week. But you're flying under the radar. Now, I don't think you're as good as those teams. Probably not. But I mean, I think if this is any year, this is a year to beat an Ohio State, and maybe if you can catch one of these those other teams on an off week, and you just come to play, then you could see Michigan playing in that Big Ten championship.
Well, last thing on Michigan is that I thought their quarterback Cade McNamara actually looked really good,
Mm-hmm.
and this is probably one of my favorite performances I've seen, not only of him but of a Michigan quarterback in recent times. It really felt like against a good Wisconsin defense, he made some really good throws. He like not only did he make the throws that he needed to make, he was really stretching that defense. I mean, he had a great throw on a flea flicker. He had another great throw at some point down the right sideline. The receiver, it was a little bit underthrown, but he came back, made a good catch. I just thought, like in general, he had a really like full on through and through game. And then kind of on the other side, I mean, there's so many problems with this Wisconsin offense, but they had one drive where Graham Mertz was hitting that receiver DK. They were stretching the field. Outside of that, it was like a whole bunch of nothing for the most part. They moved the ball a couple drives, but then once that field shortened up, they couldn't do anything. Man, if I'm Wisconsin, I want to see that a Wisconsin fan or a believer, I want to see that connection with Mertz to DK develop more, because if if you're threatening that team's defenses vertically, it opens up space for that tight end Ferguson. It'll probably open up the run game a little bit more. So like, dude, let me see any of that, because this offense needs a spark, and they had that one drive, and that's really it.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, their offense was just shit, and they just can't turn the ball over. It's just mistake city for this football team.
It's bad.
Texas TCU. This was a really interesting football game. TCU started off the game with a huge kick return, and then there was both of these running backs, Zach Evans, and then what everyone's going to be talking about, Bijan Robinson. The dude went for like 200 yards on
he got the ball almost
carries.
40 times.
Yeah, the dude went absolutely berserk. But I think Zach Evans as well, the TCU running back, had a really good game. So on that first drive, they had a touchdown. He broke like 3 tackles, and then Bijan Robinson, it was just, okay, let's find a way to get this guy the football like a bajillion times, because they had no answer for him. It was a good win for Texas, but man, was there so many mistakes. They should have, this game should not have been a 1-score football game, especially with Bijan Robinson, how dominant he was during the football game. I mean, so after that kickoff, Texas gets the ball back. They have a good kickoff return of their own. They get the ball at midfield, have to settle for a field goal. Then a couple drives later, they get a turnover, right? A fumble in short field in TCU territory, have to settle for another field goal, right? And it's just another fumble early in the third quarter, settle for another field goal. When you have a dude that is literally the defense cannot tackle, right? They're giving him the ball. He's averaging 7 yards a clip. They cannot tackle him. They have to stack the box. Is it concerning that against a team like, I mean, TCU's not a slouch, but man, like, you can't convert more in the red zone, and just the mistakes in general, the fact that this game was even close?
Yeah, well, again, it is Sark in the red zone. I don't think he really,
A little saltiness from the Falcons fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, unless you have Alabama's weapons, I don't think he can score that much. But yeah, I don't know. I still don't know what to make out of Casey Thompson at quarterback. Be honest with you, I didn't think he had a bad day. Well, he was kind of just game managing, right? Because like you giving your running back, he's going to average 30 carries a game. Bijan Robinson is. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Bijan Robinson right now, with how bad these quarterbacks are playing, is the front runner for the Heisman. It's just, I mean, the way I look at it for Texas, right? The spread coming in was 4.5, and they covered. So you did that on the road. You neutralized the mistakes next week, and because like they wanted to beat TCU, obviously, but they know this week coming up is definitely like the game they're really getting ready for. So maybe they just got like kind of like caught napping a little bit, and trying to think about Oklahoma this week. But I don't know. It's just still first year head coach. Mistakes are going to happen. Texas needs to get back on the ground with recruiting. You need to find you got to find like another Sam Ehlinger of some sorts, because like if Sam Ehlinger had this team, I envisioned that his stats would be, better than he put up in his whole college lifetime.
Yeah, you're right. They covered the spread, but just watching the game, it just felt like Texas was the more dominant team. That this game should not have been close, and the only reason it really was close was because these red zone possessions and just mistakes and like obviously it's college football. Every team is going to make mistakes, but when you have a running back that like is just dominant, right? They have no answers for him other than like, let's just send the whole freaking team at him. I just expect you, and even still, he's having success. I just expected a little bit more consistency out of guys like Casey Thompson, out of the rest of the offense. And I mean, just what happens when you give the ball to Bijan Robinson 25, 30 times, and he's not going for 200 yards, and you're up against a more talented team like we're seeing. They're playing Oklahoma next week, right? Like, what happens then?
Well, I mean, we've already seen what it kind of happens when they played Arkansas, right? They get their
Yeah.
shit rocked.
You get your shit
So,
rocked.
I
Yeah, that's
mean,
kind of what I was alluding to, right? Like,
I like that. I think it's just them figuring out the new system. Is Casey Thompson a good quarterback? Or I think it's a little too early to tell. Is he the guy? Probably not. But you're
he's
right.
still a
Like,
young kid, though, right? He's a
yeah,
freshman,
but
right?
yeah, but at the end of the day, like you want someone else in this offense to pick up with Bijan Robinson. I mean, like if that's your game plan to run him 30 times because he's no one can stop him, then go right ahead. But I mean, like at the end of the day, you got to score touchdowns. You got to get produce from other players, and you saw that in the Arkansas game where Bijan Robinson gets slowed down a little bit, or like they can manage that, and then they get rocked.
Speaking of getting rocked, and speaking of Arkansas, that Georgia-Arkansas game,
Jesus, I felt bad for Arkansas.
yeah, there's just a certain level of Georgia's ridiculousness that's like, my God, you're watching that game. Okay, I think clearly being on the road, Arkansas, they were kind of coming into that game licking their wounds to begin with, but
Oh,
being on the road, they made a ton of early mistakes. They were just out of the game. Georgia had all the momentum. They were just more physical. And it's just it was a combination of a bad day and being the worst team. It felt like for Arkansas.
I knew once I took Arkansas and then turned on those fans there. That place was rocking, dude. That place was absolutely rocking. But again, I mean, Arkansas did they even have a yard in the first quarter? I don't remember them even.
They may have had negative ones.
They didn't move the ball, and again, this Georgia defense is nasty. It is
disgusting.
The most they gave up all year is 13 points to South Carolina. I'm pretty sure they've only given up 2 touchdowns all year. Georgia in the past 2 games, right? What did they score against Vandy? 60 something. They put up 37 here, so they're almost outscoring their opponents in the last 2 games. 100-0. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think their defense is definitely the best in the nation. And I mean, if you have to look,
it's close.
I mean, but this is what I hate saying is that I think this might be Georgia's year.
I mean, we still need to see what happens against these Alabamas. Florida lost. We'll touch on that game, but I mean, I still don't think that if Georgia's playing a Florida, it's a pushover. I agree. Georgia's defense, they're going to be in every game. And that defense is so dominant that you're thinking that this could be their year. But what happens when maybe a team scores a kickoff return for a touchdown and they're not playing an Arkansas team that's shooting themselves in the foot the entire first half?
It'll be interesting to see because JT Daniels was hurt for that game, that groin injury or whatever it was, and they started the mailman again. And the mailman's came in, he's made some throws, he's won some games, but at the end of the day, you can't win with the mailman. And when JT Daniels has played this year, we haven't we've heard all this hype, oh, he was the number 1 quarterback in his high school, and all this. It's okay, well, where is this? I know they scored 37 points, but I give that more to their defense, just giving them great possession, and eventually you are going to score. It's just when are we going to see a Bama-esque or an LSU-esque? It doesn't have to be that god tier, but where an offense sort of like Florida last year, they could put up some points and really move the ball. I'm still waiting to see that out of Georgia. But other than that, the team is great from from head to toe.
All right, Wake Forest against Louisville. Battle of some interesting ACC teams. Wake Forest ends up coming out with a dub. Neither of these teams could really play defense, and I think both of the quarterbacks looked all right. They only had, I think both of them had 1 turnover that was rough, but Obviously, Wake Forest was able to come back from it. I mean, Louisville, even to a certain extent, they took the lead late in the game. I guess the question is, like, with the ACC just being the ACC, I mean, Wake Forest, this could be their time to shine here.
It could be their year. I don't think anybody wants to win the ACC. Because if you're Wake Forest, you kind of want more of a. I mean, Louisville is like a scrappy team and they're going to play you tough coming in, but I don't think you would want a scare like that if it comes down to the fourth quarter. You would, especially Wake Forest getting some hype and you seeing that the ACC is open, you want to take control of it. Again, I think any win in the ACC this year, especially when you play against against each other, I think it's a good win. Because I think the ACC is kind of the conference now is like any given week, anybody can beat you. Like we saw Tech blow up North Carolina the next week, get hammered by Pittsburgh. So I think it's just the way I would treat the ACC is survive and advance.
Yeah, just take it a week at a time. I mean, speaking of Georgia Tech Pittsburgh, let's talk about that game. I think that the score line is a little bit more exaggerated than what the game actually was. Georgia Tech, first 2 drives of the game, 2 interceptions, one being a pick six, the other just in their own territory. They essentially gifted a good Pittsburgh team 2 free touchdowns. They come back, score a touchdown the next drive that they get the ball, but man, you give Kenny Pickett, who looks phenomenal, by the way, getting some draft buzz now. I mean, let's just talk about him really quickly. The dude looks like he has 90 times more swagger than he did last year. I mean, the offensive line for Pittsburgh was giving him some time on a lot of plays, but he was under pressure a couple of plays too. It's not like it was all sunshine and roses, but man, he is driving the football. And you saw, dude, he had a couple throws where he's just in rhythm, going off his back foot, just really looking cool and confident and just putting the ball all over the field.
Yeah, I think his growth from last year is a big plus and big factor. And you see it at Pittsburgh, right? Like they're playing good ball. And they played good teams. I mean, they beat a Tennessee team that just beat the doors off of Missouri.
Yeah.
So
the Pittsburgh pass rush, you also have to shout them out because they were giving Georgia Tech problems all day. On their second interception on their second drive, right, the pick six, they actually had an over route wide open. And it's the quarterback saw it. It's just the pass rush got there instantly. And, I mean, that's just one of those plays where you have another half a second. That might be a touchdown for Georgia Tech, but nope, it's a touchdown for Pittsburgh, right? It's just one of those things that's crazy about football. And then all of a sudden, I mean, you give a good quarterback and a team that's playing well a 14-point lead. They kind of just held on to that the entire game.
Yeah, there was no coming back. And for Pittsburgh, you gotta love the place you're in. Because you look
dude, they must be licking their chops right now.
Yeah, you look at the shape of the ACC, and you got to say he's the best quarterback in the conference, easily, right? If not,
he's
top 5 in the
top
country.
3. I mean, for college football, I think that Louisville quarterback Malik Cunningham, there might be a little bit of a conversation with him. It's just Louisville doesn't have a defense, so I mean, go ahead. Nice. You can go ahead and score 35 points a game when your defense is giving up 42. But yeah, I mean, Kenny Pickett is definitely up there. I mean, other than that, Phil Yurkovec maybe from Boston College?
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of anyone else. I mean, the Wake Forest quarterback is all right.
Yeah, Phil Yurkovec didn't even play.
Yeah, he didn't play.
They played that other kid, and he kind of sucks.
Yeah, it kills you, man. We'll get into the game in a bit, but I think you're right. Kenny Pickett has to be I'd take him as I think I'm taking him number 1, but
he's better than DJ Ugalele. I can tell you that
1,000% top 2 or 3 in the conference. I think you're right. He's number 1. Yeah, it's just Pittsburgh just looked great on both sides of the ball.
You're playing at the Nerds. They come off a big win, so it's a good win for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think the game was just a little bit closer than the score line said, and it was a good win for Pittsburgh. Notre Dame, Cincinnati, another team where you talk about Cincinnati's defense. Holy crap. I mean, they
Yeah.
were giving. Now, one thing has to be said about Notre Dame's quarterback, about how it's still just the Achilles heel of the football team. I mean, they were doing quarterback roulette. They had like 4 freaking quarterbacks play this game.
They had
None of them were able to do anything.
they benched Cone and then put in Pine, right? I remember
Yeah.
that.
And I think
I
Pine either got hurt or they had another quarterback come in for a little bit, and then he did literally nothing. It was just quarterback roulette.
well, see that game right there. Because Notre Dame's defense was keeping them in the game for the whole time, right? Because like Notre Dame's offense was not moving that ball one lick, right, in the beginning.
They were giving Cincinnati the ball. They weren't even just moving the ball. They were giving him the ball.
But again, it was like Cincinnati. Like, are you going to take charge of this lead? And Notre Dame's defense held on, and like at one point, it was a 1-score game. Like Notre Dame did come back.
Notre Dame, I misspoke because they did move the ball that first drive, but then Jack Cohn threw a pick in the red zone where you thinking that you're going up 7-0, at least 3-0, turns into a pick for Cincinnati. Then the second drive, I think they fumbled a kickoff or something. They turned the ball over somehow.
Nice.
And Cincinnati's pass rush was just all over Notre Dame, which was
it's a good team.
They're a phenomenal team. That defense is so good, and I think we already knew that Cincinnati's defense was good, but this was a test because Notre Dame, this is a school, they have unbelievably talented tight ends every year. Offensive line is good every year. And it's like Cincinnati was getting to the quarterback and giving them a lot of problems, more so than just, Notre Dame's offense isn't that good. Their quarterback stink. Like, no, it was more to the Notre Dame struggles than just Notre Dame having bad skill players.
Yeah. Also, what I liked at Cincinnati too was that, when Notre Dame did make it a game, because Pine threw like a kind of, like he's going to get credit for a good pass here, but I that dude closed his eyes and just chunked it up, and and the receiver comes down and they scored. They missed the extra point, right? And it was like was it like a 8-point game at that point? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know,
but like Riddler, that's his name, right? Riddler.
Ritter.
Desmond
Ritter.
I'm combining with Rattler. Okay. But he made some throws on that last drive that, cause Notre Dame's got the crowd back in it. They're playing at home, and if they get this ball back, it could spell trouble. I thought, him late in that game really took control of it because he made some throws like I'm talking like 3rd and longs and throwing that thing 20 yards to the sideline, hitting the guy in stride and just running away with it. I thought, that was very impressed by him because I know he gets some buzz a little bit, and he's been off to a shaky start, some people say. But again, Cincinnati, right, once you got past Indiana, because like that was another threat possibly, but looking at Indiana now, like it's not. But Notre Dame was the test, right? Because you finally get to play somebody, a top 10 team, like prove it to us, like why you belong in the college football playoff contention. Okay, so now that's a resume builder there. The rest of your schedule should be cakewalk, where you should be favored. And, I think Cincinnati's it because like if they win out, you can't keep them out.
Yeah, I think you have to put them in. Speaking of teams that what the hell is going on? Florida with a huge loss against Kentucky. This is a team that could not afford a loss here. And I mean, they did. There's a lot I want to say on this game. First off, Wan'Dale Robinson, that receiver on Kentucky. You see that one screen pass he took to the house? Yeah. Holy shit, he looks good. Just effortless, right? Effortless juking. He just looks a step faster than. And that's a good Florida defense. That is a really talented Florida defense, and he just made them, at least on that play, look like fools. It's just a weird game, though, because you look at that first drive from Florida. They're running the ball really. It just looked like it was going to be a classic, hey, Kentucky, you're losing to Florida. But Kentucky stays in the game. They're just keeping it close. Then you have that blocked field goal, right? That blocked field goal for a touchdown. All of a sudden, it's like complete 180. Kentucky's fans are going crazy. They have all the momentum for basically doing nothing the entire game other than just keeping the game close and stopping Florida in the red zone. And then they held on, And
I don't understand how the hell Florida did not score on that last drive.
I don't know how they didn't score in general. They're getting in the red zone like every possession. They just don't push. They're settling for field goals every possession.
Because like they got it was like 3rd and goal or 4th and goal, and it was incomplete. But then they got like a PI call or something like that. So like they're right there at the line, and next thing you know, they don't convert on 4 downs, ball game, and it's just like, the hell are you doing now? Like if they are not converting in the red zone, Emory Jones, I don't know. He's still not my guy. I like the stat line shows you that he played pretty good, like played all right, especially with his rushing total. But like I think what it is they can't throw the ball in the red zone because like Kentucky was you take away the running game in the red zone, force this guy to make a throw. I don't think he can because I don't think he could throw the ball downfield.
Well, I just I think it got to a point in the game where that point in the game was, I think, that blocked field goal where once Florida goes down, I think they kind of got away from the success that they were having on the ground pounding the rock. Right? I like you said, once the field condensed and it's just Emory Jones, he's not great at passing. He was making some good throws, but then he had that pick too late in the game.
Yeah.
I just think that Florida should have just stuck to beating Kentucky on the ground. They were doing it most of the game, basically all game. I think that they gave up on it a little bit because, man, I would have pounded the rock, Emory Jones and the running backs, and they just made some plays on play action. I think they just put a little bit too much pressure on Emory Jones to dude, I agree with you. I do not want Emory Jones throwing the ball more than 30 times. I really don't.
That you're probably going to lose.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I want this team, or I wanted this team, if I'm a Florida fan, I guess, really, really, really dominate Kentucky physically. Because you were, for basically the entire game, you were, and you just got away from it once things started going wrong. And then you kind of everything played in, right? The crowd got into it. And all of a sudden, you're on your heels. You just don't have the momentum. I just think that they got away from what was working, especially early in the game. I mean, you look at that first drive. You think that Florida's winning by like 3 scores.
Well, the thing is, it's like I just look at it like, Kentucky's scrappy team. They have them for the past couple of years, and they're a good program over there. But again, you're Florida. You're only putting up 13 points against Kentucky. That's what we're doing. We're doing that. I mean, like, I expect a little more out of Florida. Come on, you were just in the SEC championship.
They were moving the ball. Like, it just doesn't make sense that they only put up 13 points. It's mind-boggling when you look at, like, you just go back and watch the game. Like, I'm going back and watching this game. Like, how do they not have 30 points? Like, it's just, and then shout out Kentucky's red zone defense. Once that field condensed, they gave Florida a ton of problems.
I mean, dude, they had 382 total yards to Kentucky's 224.
Yeah, right. Like,
this is how they lost the game. They're 4-13 on 3rd downs.
I mean, I think it was mainly the red zone though. They just couldn't do anything in the red zone. It's field goals every possession. They're getting down there and just selling field goals.
I mean, they had 20 minutes on Kentucky holding the ball, and they lost this game. That's one Dan Mullen's going to be scratching his head.
Well, yeah, that's why, like, I just want to pound the rock. Take the will out of Kentucky.
Oh, and you got to remember, Florida was getting pretty big on the penalty, too. They had 15 for over 100.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. That's a good point. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Speaking of shooting yourself in the foot, Oregon.
Oh, God.
Shooting themselves in the foot against Stanford. I mean,
trash team.
I know. I thought it. I think you might have agreed with me on the past podcast. I don't exactly remember, but I thought that this is a really underrated Stanford team. I mean, I know that you really like UCLA. They had a big loss. We'll touch on that to Arizona State. We also really like Arizona State. I think that Stanford, not that they're up there with those programs necessarily right now, but I don't think they're necessarily far behind. And their quarterback, Tanner McKee, I think is pretty damn legit and can make a lot of throws that a lot of other guys can't make. And it really, I took the Stanford spread. This is like the one college football game I hit on. it almost felt like it was just going to happen sooner rather than later with Oregon. Their offense just isn't talented enough. It's just not going to be consistent enough. It looked great against Ohio State when you're out scheming a team that refuses to change and you score on the same play like 5 times in a row. But I mean, Stanford is not a pushover. This is an underrated team, and they went out there and beat Oregon in double overtime.
Yeah, I just kind of it felt like it was coming for Oregon, right? Like I beat Ohio State, got everybody full number that you're number 3, dude. You weren't a good team. Yeah, I don't think Ohio State's typically a really good team, but at the end of the day, Ohio State's going to be there because they'll figure it out. I don't think Oregon will. I still think this is a 3 to 4 loss team. I think more to come. You saw it last week when they played Arizona, right? And they're struggling against Arizona, one of the worst teams, and it's like, what the hell's going on? Now you get a scrappy Stanford team. It's just Stanford's like one of the schools I would not want to play because, like, again, they make enough plays to stay in it, and they have a quarterback. I mean,
that's just the problem right now with Oregon is that they're like that old schooly kind of college football team where they're just going to run the ball a shit ton. But, dude, like in the modern game, you need to be able to throw.
Yeah.
You have to have a quarterback where it's like,
it'd be nice.
We need you to be able to go out there and throw 30 times. And like, okay, maybe if your quarterback is like absolutely nasty running the ball, like, okay, maybe a team like Florida with Emory Jones, but we just saw him lose to freaking Kentucky. Like, okay, maybe if you have a sick running quarterback, then fine. You don't need to be able to throw the ball 30 times for 200, 250 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and be good. But it's just like number 3 in the nation. We were saying it last week that we would take Arizona State and UCLA over Oregon, that they were just scarier teams.
Yeah, I still would. I'd take Stanford over them now.
Speaking of scary teams, Alabama against Ole Miss. This was just Alabama was up, just dominated them, right? Just physically dominated. They showed the talent that they have over Ole Miss. Matt Corral, I like him. He's a good kid. It's just I just don't think Ole Miss is on that level at the end of the day.
Yeah, Ole Miss got off to a good start whenever they were driving the ball on their first drive, right? It was like an 8-minute drive. Looked like, maybe Lane Kiffin's got something. It didn't even matter to points. And then after that, it was just Bama touchdown, Bama touchdown, Bama touchdown. And like it was like, what, 42-0 heading into the fourth quarter? It's supposed to be one of the games of the week. Again, it's just there's a reason why Nick Saban hasn't lost to a former assistant coach of his, and just out game planned him, outbeat him. He has the better players. I should have just known that was coming, that Bama was just going to beat down on Ole Miss.
I mean, dude, that Alabama offensive line showed up. Stanford QB low-key a stud. Yeah, I really liked Tanner McKee. I think that he's really underrated. He's got a wacky little throwing motion too. It's like kind of sidearm. I don't even know how to describe it. His arm's just like out there. Yeah, it's like 3/4, but he throws the ball. His arm is like fully extended. It's crazy.
He's beast.
Baylor against Oklahoma State. You got any thoughts on this one?
Snoozer. If you wanted to, you know how people watch golf on Sundays and wake up from like a nap because it put them to sleep? This was that game, dude. This game was so boring. Oklahoma State came out firing, scored a touchdown really quick. But Baylor has a really good defense, and their defense held up. But watching that Baylor offense, their quarterback is so damn bad, dude. I don't think he could hit the broadside of a barn. He was missing pass left and right. There was a couple plays. There was one play where they're like at their own 2, and he completes the pass somehow. Don't understand it. But he's just running back, and he's trying to avoid the sack, and he just says, screw it, someone's there. Just chunks it up. The ball's up in the air for like 10 seconds, and somehow a Baylor receiver came down with it. And I'm just like, what the hell's going on? And they had a very stupid call. It was like 8 minutes left in the game or something like that, and Baylor was like on their like they were like on their like 40 35ish, somewhere almost being midfield. 33, they go for it. No, 4th and 3, they go for it. Don't get it. And then Oklahoma State just goes down there and, like the Oklahoma State demons score on that after getting the ball in that good position. It was just such a bad game to watch. And also, I think you got a good defense. Why don't you just punt there, switch the side of the field, and then make your defense make a play?
Well, the data analytics says to always go for it, no matter.
Not with that quarterback.
I'm kidding around. The thing is, though, is that like I still don't believe in Oklahoma State. I really don't.
Not after that. Well, like Baylor's defense is good. Like that unit is good. Like, but yeah, Oklahoma State, they're always a weird team. I'm not sure if they'll be there, but hey, they're undefeated. They beat a ranked opponent.
I don't believe in any of these damn Big 12 teams. I think they're all pretty trash, to be honest, in terms of like the truly elite teams in college football.
Oh yeah, they're all trash. They're not good.
Mississippi State upset Texas A&M. I mean, upset, like Texas A&M has kind of been sinking like a rock from the beginning of the season.
They don't have a quarterback.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that game? Like, are we just gonna heavy fade Texas A&M the rest of the year?
Yeah, I'm glad I jumped out on that ship when I did, because I was hyping them up thinking this would be the team, and their defense is really good. Their defense can make some plays, but after seeing them struggle in the first couple of games and looking at these quarterbacks they had, I was like, oh, get me out of here, because at the end of the day, it's college football. You need a quarterback. Yeah, I think it's just a heavy fade. If I should have just bet Mississippi State, because like you kind of like. We still don't really know about Arkansas. They beat some good teams. We think they're on the rise, but they're probably more like 8-4. I see Texas A&M falling into that slot 7-5. The LSU game's going to be fun for them. But right now, I think LSU's better. Auburn's better. Ole Miss is even better because they have a quarterback. And if it was a shootout, Ole Miss is going to win that. So if I'm Jimbo, I'm searching for some kind of offensive help.
Yeah, I mean, Kellen Mond went out 1 year too early, sadly.
He should have taken the COVID year.
BC against Clemson. Man, I think BC wins this game if they have Phil Jurkovec playing. I really do.
That quarterback sucks.
Brazel or whatever his name is for BC.
Yeah,
like he did not have a great game.
He didn't do. Yeah, the thing is, like, when are you ever going to throw 2 picks? Just give Clemson 2 picks and still have a shot to win this game. And the thing about BC is that they had all right to win that game. You should have won that game. You had the block punt, didn't score any points, right? You had numerous of times where you were there threatening, but at the end of the day, Clemson's defense made a play. The best performance that quarterback had was on that last drive when they were about to be in the red zone, and then he just forgets when the center snaps it, he has to catch it. So I think that's an inexcusable loss if I was BC. Like a lot of people just be looked at it like, it's Clemson, it's fine. Like you gave them a run for money, you covered, good job. Hell no, I'd be pissed. You should have won the damn game.
Well, yeah, I just think if Big Phil's playing, he's I think he's Polish. I actually don't know where he's from. Somewhere around there. I think if he's playing, they win. And that's the one reason why I didn't want to. I should have taken BC spread. 15 points was way too much, or whatever the hell it went down to. I think it went down to 11 at one point or something.
Well, just betting against Clemson is going to really help you because DJ Uiagalelei and that offense is horrific. It is so bad.
Dude,
I was trying to get
minus 850 to win the conference coming into the season.
I mean, dude, what was Pittsburgh's number? Because if you bet on Pittsburgh, you're looking pretty nice.
But the thing is, it's funny, is that obviously part of that line was because okay, Clemson's a good team, but the other part of it is that the ACC is still not a good conference. Like, it's not
Oh,
like
it's
they are
not.
playing good teams every week. This is a bad conference still.
There won't be there will not be a representative from this conference in the college football playoff, nor should there be.
There
Like
won't be one close. Not
I-
even when there not be a representative.
they
Who's
might want
going
it.
in the conversation?
They might hope to get one ranked, but TJ Ukulele, I don't think the guy that I saw play against Notre Dame last year to the guy that started these first few games is just completely different.
Are
I
they
don't
gonna
know.
bench him? Like, are they just gonna like keep going?
I think they're just going to keep going. I don't know, and it comes also with that running back, right? He was hurt this game, so he didn't play, but he hasn't been getting off to a great start. They said he was the number one rated running back out of high school. I took a look at that guy. That dude ain't the number one running back. Okay. That dude ain't it. I'm surprised he's not playing at D3 football. He just looks like he doesn't look like the number one running back. Now, I might be totally wrong, and he might go out there and be the next CMC, but the way he looked on that sideline hurt and the way he's been running to start the year, nah, that ain't it.
All right, Auburn, LSU. You got any thoughts on that one?
I will actually give some praise to Bo Nix. I thought, good job coming back. He like there you go again with like the talent of Bo Nix, right? He can make plays and he can do all this. He was a big part of the reason why they got back in that game. Was plus with Auburn's defense, but I thought it was a good win for Auburn because didn't LSU get off to like a quick big
I didn't
lead?
watch the game. I have no idea. Keyshawn Boutte had a good game.
I
Dude's
watched
a
the
stud.
very end, so I saw when they clinched it. I I will say about this and about LSU because it's wild to see that team 2 years after Burrow and how completely different it is. Just obviously you lose all those weapons, but so does Bama, so does Georgia, and if we're going to put you on that same tier, I think there's just something going on with the coaching there. I'm kind of out on Coach O.
I mean,
I'm out on
maybe
Coach
that's
O.
because Joe Brady's gone.
Yeah, but still, Coach O.
Dude, the thing is that Coach O to me is a recruiter, right? There's two types of coaches, especially in college football. You got the recruiters and you got the X's and O's guys. Usually because it's college football, the recruiters win. And then sometimes you have like the Nick Sabans who are both, right? And those are the dudes who are like freaking insane. But dude, this LSU team is just kind of bad. Like, they have a
I don't think
couple
they're
of good
good.
players, but they're a glorified South Carolina. They have a couple of sick players.
They're better than us.
Oh yeah, they're better than South Carolina, but I mean, let's not act like LSU is freaking the scary team on the schedule anymore. I mean, they have a couple of good players. Keyshawn Boutte, the couple of defensive players, freaking Corner McGee, Stingley. Good players. But they do not have a roster right now. And that's what they had when they were sick. Like, okay, you're going to say, oh, well, they had Joe Burrow. He's the number one pick. But, like, no. They had an entire football team of NFL players. I don't think they have half a football team of NFL players now.
Yeah, but you're LSU. What are we doing, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not praising it. Exactly. What the hell are we doing? We're LSU. You should be able to recruit out the ass. Like, they should be Georgia. You're LSU. You have dude, you are the coolest school ever. Like the stadium atmosphere, the freaking everything, right? You're LSU. You should have the nastiest football team of all time.
I they should have just won this game,
Dude, you're playing fucking Bo Nix. Tank Bigsby didn't do shit this game.
I know.
It's a dream scenario.
LSU actually did shut down Tank Bigsby, which was a huge emphasis. And that's why I give credit to Bo Nix here because they were like, hey, man, we're going to make you beat us. And, did Bo Nix get off to the best of starts? Hell no. But, again, Auburn's defense shut them out in the fourth quarter, said, here, we're going to make some plays for you, save our ass. And Bo Nix, 14 points in the fourth quarter, they win the ball game. That's just, at the end of the day, they made more plays to win this game because it was going to come down the last play. And I think it kind of came down to coaching because I think Auburn's coach at Boise, I still like him more than Coach O. I'm just kind of out on Coach O. I kind of can him, low key. Like, I know that might be rough, but
he's a good guy. But I
he's a
agree
good
with
guy.
you.
But like, where has he had success anywhere? Like, take out that one stacked year with LSU, right? He's had success nowhere. He hasn't. Like, LSU turned back into this 6-6, 7-5 team that is just, whatever. Did he coach at USC? USC sucked, and it's just, what are we doing here? Is this the guy? Like, I don't think it is. I think that you're LSU. You can find a better guy.
Arizona State, UCLA. UCLA kind of got their doors knocked off of UC. I might have said that wrong. Did I say no? UCLA got their doors knocked off by Arizona State. Finally, the coming out party that me and you both kind of, not that we expected it against UCLA because we both really like UCLA, but we also both really like Arizona State, and we like the organization, we like the talent that they have, and we kind of finally saw it all come together against an actual opponent this week.
Yeah, it was a good win because, like, I mean, it looked early. Like, UCLA was moving the ball well. Like, it was just first down after first down. And then, Arizona State would answer, and it looked like it's going to be a good old-fashioned shootout, and whoever had the ball last. And then that second half happened, and it turned on for Arizona State. It was all them. They were getting stops. UCLA couldn't move the ball. And then, then you got Jaden Daniels and Herm Edwards just cooking up over there. I thought that was a very impressive win for Arizona State. And now that they took down UCLA, and I saw, because that's just a bad game for UCLA, and you're probably going to get that because I don't think the talent level is extremely there. I think it's a good veteran group, and they're going to be a good team. But they have that capability of getting blown out like that. I think Arizona State, you look at them, they might be the favorites for me for the Pac-12 right now.
I mean, hats off to them for keeping Charbonnet under 100 yards, right? Because it's not like he wasn't getting the football.
Yeah.
So I just think that that's the big X factor, right? When UCLA was hot and destroying teams, I mean, obviously, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson really didn't have a bad game. It's just
no.
Charbonnet, you couldn't tackle him. He was going off $120 a game, a touchdown, this and that. This game, they fed him the ball, and he couldn't really do much. He was just kind of getting bottled up consistently. So good for Arizona State, and they come out with a win.
Mm-hmm.
Last game, Hawaii against Fresno. I got to mention this one because fuck you, Fresno. Trap game for Fresno. I took the bait. I thought that they would go to the island and fuck Hawaii up, but the island never loses.
You don't Hawaii is they could be the most trash ass team, but if a team has to go to the island, it's a tough one, and you just don't bet it. You can't bet against Hawaii when they're on the island.
I took the bait so hard.
But that game started off quick for Hawaii, right? It was 10-0. Then Fresno State put the hammer on. Or it looked like Fresno was going to coast an easy win. Then their quarterback got hurt, and then there was a pick, and then all momentum shifts, and then they lose the game. It's just tough one for Fresno because
they were a good team. They kind of had a chance here to
I wonder if that quarterback's okay because I know you like him.
Hayner.
Yeah,
he gets banged up freaking every game. It seems like. I mean, dude just takes shots. He's a tough guy, but. From college football, let's move into some NFL football because, listen, I'm going to pat myself on the back here, but I kind of went nutty in NFL last week.
Mm-hmm.
So for the picks, if you guys watch the pick stuff, I went 1-4 in college. The only good call I had was Stanford, but I took the spread instead of the money line. NFL, come back. We're starting it off. Giants, Saints. Dude, I called it, man. The Giants, I'm telling you, the Giants should be 3-1 right now. They really should be 3-1 right now. You were kind of saying it too. You took their spread. Okay, yeah. Did they necessarily deserve to win the game? Not necessarily. They could have easily lost that game. But the fact of the matter is that the Saints offense is not good, right?
No, it's
The
not.
Giants defense is actually very good. Daniel Jones has low key also been very good. Saquon Barkley, we kind of finally saw the Saquon that we were all expecting. And I do not think that this should come as a shock that this was a close football game.
No, and also it was a good comeback win for the G-men, too. What they were down like 13 going into the fourth or whatever.
I think so, yeah.
And I think the big thing for me is, Daniel Jones playing another good game. But
No, 11, I think.
they're down 11. Okay, but how do they force that in OT?
They scored 11.
Okay. Touchdown, 2-point conversion with a field goal? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, that was exactly it. Because they
All
had
right.
the field goal forced into OT, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But finally, like you see Saquon finally break out. I think he got something happened that fourth quarter where he like said, you know what, I'm tired of this shit. Because I thought like he's been kind of playing scared, and then the way he came out in that fourth quarter, he did not. He looked like a guy you spent number 2 pick on.
Mm-hmm. I mean, dude, you also got to shout out Daniel Jones going for 400 against a good Saints defense. I mean, I
Yeah,
understand that the game went to OT and they got the ball first, so that's going to be inflated a little bit compared to just a regular old game. But I mean, the other thing too is he's been taking care of the football, right? That's the difference maker that we've seen at Daniel Jones, because I think Daniel Jones is still a limited quarterback. I think the stats, like when you look at the stats, you can get baited a little bit, but because like okay, his deep ball is still inconsistent, but deep middle of field, right on these bang eights, on deep curls, digs, Daniel Jones is great. He's good at that. Let me throw it over a linebacker under a safety kind of a throw, and that's really the only throw he is truly elite at.
Mm.
I think Jason Garrett's done a really good job of putting him in his position to be comfortable in this offense and to take advantage of that skill set. Kadarius Toney looked really good. He had that one screen pass first down that was he juked out like 3 guys. I think it was a little bit of a favorable spot, but regardless, like that's a big play. Dude, I think we're finally starting to see things kind of come together for the Giants. And the only problem, and it was still kind of a problem last week, was we just need to see this team score in the red zone. We saw Saquon Barkley finally punch one into the end zone, right? Like
Yeah.
if we see this consistently, the Giants could be a dangerous team, low key.
Yeah, I thought they were a borderline playoff team coming in the year. Still think that too, because it's so much football left. But yeah, it was a good win. But like
crowning the Cowboys the division winners right now.
That's a big game next week, so I like to see that.
This is still the NFC East, right?
Yeah, it is the NFC East, so take what you will from it. But again, with the Saints, it's like, what the hell are they? They don't have an identity.
I'll tell you exactly what they are. They're a team with a good defense and a pretty trash offense. That's just like everyone's always, because I've heard this so many times. What are the Saints? That's exactly what they are. They're a glorified Giants right now. Like that's what they are.
Yeah, it's just, it seems like they're bipolar. They like first 1 week they just blow out a team. Next week get blown out. The next week they blow out a team, and the next week they lose.
Well,
like
people
it's just
are looking way too much into that Panthers game because that's just a COVID game, man. Like a bunch of good players are out, half their coaching staff is out. Like that makes an impact. And the other thing too with the Saints is that you have to remember they had so much shit going on in the offseason with the hurricane, right? Like they did not have a normal offseason, which I don't
yeah.
think people are taking into account. Especially like and on top of that, they were in cap hell, so they couldn't really fill a lot of the positions of need outside of the draft, and they did not have a lot of great draft capital. Like, I think you kind of called it, though, because in the beginning of the season, you were the dude saying, dude, I've seen Sean Payton go 8-8. I've seen Sean Payton go, like, be an average football team. Like, they're a team you don't want to play, but it's not like they're scary.
Yeah, I think that's what they've kind of gone back to that threshold of being an 8-8 team. Well, 8-9, 9-8. Take what you pick with the extra
That's
game.
exactly what they are. They're one of those fringe playoff teams. you don't want to play them because they have a good physical defense, but I mean, they're just not elite, right? They're just
Mm-hmm.
not. Eagles Chiefs. This is a game. I mean, this is a weird game because we still saw the Chiefs be the same team that they've kind of been the past couple of weeks, but the Eagles were bad enough that the Chiefs were just able to kind of hold on to a 2-score lead the entire game.
Yeah, but the Eagles they were in it. Like, beginning of the game, it looked
the
like
beginning of the game, and then the Chiefs, they put that one touchdown in right at the end of the half, right? And then they kind of just coasted from there on out.
yeah, well, they finally cover. But again, like if I'm a Chiefs fan, of course I'm not worried about the offense, but like this defense, you're gonna let up 30 points to the Eagles? Are we doing that? Really? Like
especially in the first half, because the Eagles were really moving the ball.
Yeah, like come on. Like, dude, like because look at it like this, right? Like in all the games where Eagles had success in offense so far, right? Falcons, horrible defense. They did not put up points against the 49ers, good defense. Cowboys, they struggle against the Cowboys. Cowboys defense has been making plays at the beginning of the year. And now we go back to the Chiefs, they allow 30 points. I think this defense is definitely suspect. We know, like, from last year, especially them getting to the quarterback, their numbers were horrific. But
terrible. They cannot blitz. They have to blitz to get to the quarterback. It's not even that they can't get there. They have to bring like 6 guys to get pressure.
Well, they're going to have to figure this out because there's other teams in this, and I don't know what it is because, like, maybe Mahomes is not going to be able to throw you out of every game, like, especially, like, the way the Bills are looking, just playing great, play on great both sides of the ball, like, still, I think the Browns rematch.
Are you taking Bills +3 this week? Is that a little foreshadow?
Are they playing the Chiefs?
Yeah, they're playing the Chiefs. Bills are +3.
Is that Sunday night?
I think it's actually +2.5 right now.
That'll move.
I think it's a 425er, but
we got the Romo.
I hope so. That's going to be a great football game, though.
Yeah, that'd be good. But then again, I could just see the Chiefs beating the Bills. I don't know, but I'm still like, I'm questioning the Chiefs' defense heavy if they want to go out there and make another run at a Super Bowl.
I think the concerning thing too is that I mean, the Eagles they once again did not really run the ball with much success, and I mean, Devontae,
did they run it at all?
Yeah, kind of. The Eagles stats were a little bit inflated because it was kind of a blowout in that fourth quarter, and they pumped those numbers up a little bit. But I agree with you that if the Eagles are a better football team, like this is a 1-score, probably down to the wire kind of a game.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I don't know who else. Like, if the Chiefs play like that against the Bills next week, they lose, right? Like,
maybe not if they put up 42, but the game will be damn close. I'll tell you.
Yeah, but like the Bills' defense is better, so like you would think they'd make a couple more plays. I don't know. I'm not. It's still the Chiefs. I'm not.
Yeah, it's selling Mahomes. Like that's not.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not selling the Chiefs here.
And let's not act like their defense has been amazing. Like, okay, their defense last year was good, but it wasn't amazing.
Their Super Bowl year, their defense was.
Yeah, right. You're right.
At least their Super Bowl year, they got to the quarterback.
I'm still not panicking on the Chiefs, though.
I'm not either.
It's still Andy Reid.
They could go out there and rip 13 in a row, and they probably will.
But like, dude, we saw this last year where they get in these freaking clown fiesta kind of 34-31 types of games, but they're so good that they're the team that's pulling out at the end.
Yeah, besides the Chargers game.
Yeah, besides the Chargers game.
And the Ravens game.
Yeah, but I'm talking last year.
Okay.
Bills Texans.
What a great game!
Blew the doors off the Texans. I'm not surprised by this. I mean, I was thinking about taking the spread. It's always a little bit nerve-wracking to take like a 20-point spread. I probably should have. I thought that the Bills would blow them out, but good win for the Bills and the Texans. I mean, I'm gonna eat my words here. They're really missing Tyrod Taylor. I never thought I'd say that sentence again.
I think they're just missing a quarterback in general. Like they're missing a whole roster over there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean,
There's
I
nothing to say. The Texans stink, and the
don't,
Bills are one of the hottest teams in
the
football.
Texans were, they suck, and the Bills look like, they're hadn't really want to get to the Super Bowl this year. It's nothing more.
I was 1 week early saying that the Bills were the hottest team in football because I said it last week, and they're like, "Oh, what about the Rams?" I was 1 week early with that
Oh
because
yeah.
now the Bills are the hottest team in football.
Well, what about the Browns?
Panthers, Cowboys. Cowboys kind of blew the doors off the Panthers. Game was a one-score game at the end, but the Panthers kind of just came back in garbage time.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys defense, DQ
Yeah.
baby, showing up still. Trayvon Diggs, I think he had 2 picks this game, right? Looks like a freaking animal. Good for the Cowboys. Everything seems to be going great for him right now.
Yeah, actually playing defense, complete 180 from last year. And is it because of Dan Quinn? If it is, why the hell couldn't you do that in Atlanta? But it's okay. Trayvon Diggs, he is rapidly putting his name as one of the top corners in the game. The way he's playing in his first few weeks, he's he's an animal. The dude's beast. Michael Parsons electric. You saw where they released Jalen Smith. I don't think they really need him. Okay.
I think that's going to be a nonsense thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like they were using him.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, though, is that 2 things. First off, Cowboys can run the football again. They had like 230 yards running the football. That's huge for this
They
offense.
got a nice 2-headed monster with Zeke and Tony Pollard.
Well, I think one of the reasons for that is like I think that we've seen this year Mike McCarthy has given Kellen Moore the reins to the offense, right?
Yeah, just kind of go do it.
Yeah, I think that Mike McCarthy kind of realized like, hey, this Kellen Moore dude's pretty freaking good. Let me have him really have the say. Let me stop getting my fingers too involved in the offense because this guy knows the formula it takes to win. His game plan every week, even in their loss against the Bucs, we can all agree that his game plan was phenomenal. He showed a lot of holes, and everyone is kind of copying that mold to beat the Bucs, just completely abandoning the run to a certain extent against that football
drop back
team.
50 times.
To me, Kellen Moore should be a head coach. To be honest, if I'm Jerry Jones and he's thinking about leaving, I might just make him the fucking head coach.
I think that's what I don't know. I kind of have that feeling that he's the next guy in waiting, like Jason Garrett was, right? Didn't he bring up Jason Garrett to be the head coach?
Who are you taking right now, Mike McCarthy or Kellen Moore? I don't think it's even a question.
I mean, yeah, I'm taking Kellen Moore.
I mean, it's not like the Cowboys have the whole GM thing down. They have half the freaking battle. Like, they're one of the best drafting teams in the NFL, especially in the first round. Like, yeah, I think that Kellen Moore, like, with him at the helm, this is why the Cowboys are way more scary this year, on top of the fact that they're just a lot healthier.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you put up 230 yards on the ground, you'll beat everyone. Browns, Vikings, this was a wacky game because, dude, like, the Vikings have been getting in these crazy 33-30 kind of football games, and now we see them they're not able to move the ball.
Completely opposite. Completely opposite in this game.
This Browns defense is insane.
It's good.
Pitt looked freaking amazing. Greg Newsome's looked really good.
Denzel Ward's always been a beast.
Yeah, Denzel Ward's a beast. Who's the other LSU corner? What's his name? He's like skinny. He's really skinny.
McWilliams. Greedy McWilliams.
Yeah, Greedy Williams. He looks all right. Like, everything. Owosu Koromoa looks like one of the steals of the draft, right? Like,
and then of course you got Myles Garrett.
and Myles Garrett is ridiculous. He's literally Von Miller now. Like, he's insane. Yeah, Browns are really good. They're really good. Good for you because you have them as your Super Bowl pick, right?
Oh yeah. I got him there. That's a big reason because Baker did not play good. Baker did not look good at all. But especially like the Vikings, didn't they score him the first possession? Like, they kind of just torched them, and then after that, nothing happened.
Nothing until the very end of the game.
And then the Browns just kind of like browned it where they somehow in a couple drives they would get a couple scores and just get in there. That's really impressive. Like it's sometimes the Browns are going to get in this games where the offense isn't working. Maybe it's like on Baker's front, or maybe it's a good game plan around it. They just can't really move the ball. And you saw it in the early part of last year until they really got going. Maybe it's kind of the same trend here, but that was a really nice showing to see all these pieces they put in for this defense, all these draft picks, all these free agent signings they did last year. In the first game, then this is like the first game you really saw it all gel together and see what it could be. I think that's really scary.
Well, the other thing too, though, Odell Beckham had he had a couple weird. It's just obviously the chemistry with him and Baker's off, because he had that one play where he's wide open, and Baker. I think it's a little bit of fault on both people. But I don't know why the hell Baker just beamed it at him. You could have just laid that up there for him, but he decided he was going to throw a fastball right at his knees, a little bit behind him. Odell looked like he just wasn't interested in adjusting for the football. Just weird, right?
Yeah, they need Jarvis. They really do need Jarvis.
Jarvis is so underrated.
That he makes the offense go because you can use him. He's a safety net at the end of the day. So,
but I mean, it's gonna be if you're thinking that the Browns should have this elite offense, you kind of need that Odell Baker chemistry to get to where it needs to be. I mean, you're still going to be good because you have Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, and a bunch of tight ends. So they're going to do that classic, what they were doing last year, right? They're going to go big personnel, 3 tight ends, all pro running back. They got 2 of those motherfuckers, and a guy like a Donovan Peoples-Jones. And depending on what the look they get is in the personnel, the defense, they're either going to keep pounding the rock or just spread it out wide and start hitting the receivers with mismatches against linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
Titans Jets. The Jets get their first win. This was a shocker. I didn't think that the Titans missing A.J. Brown and Julio would make this big of a difference, especially against the Jets, but clearly it did. Yeah, Zach Wilson finally decided to show up to the party. Good win for the Jets. Good for them.
Yeah, I really can't. Titans are a playoff team. The Jets, actually show up for once. Zach Wilson made some really good throws, especially that one on the sideline when he's rolling out right and throws it on
to Corey
sideline.
Davis. Or are you talking about the one where he points down and he just chucks it?
Yeah, that one. That was a really good play for him, and there was an energy in that game, especially in the OT, where you could hear the Jet fans they're getting hyped, and the defense kind of responded. But yeah, AJ Brown and Julio not being in there really hurt the Titans because they struggled. They struggled a lot.
The Titans' leading receiver was Jeremy McNichols. The only one, Josh Reynolds, was the only dude it seemed like that was able to consistently beat man coverage. Dude, we have not seen the Jets since they had Darrelle Revis be able to line up against the team and consistently win in one-on-one coverage. It was weird to see.
Now, I don't think that they can do that every week.
I don't think they'll do that again in the rest of the season.
I think they got kind of a bone thrown at them with A.J. Brown and Julio not being there. But, hey, you take it. If you're the Jets, you're taking every win. Hell, you might get 2 in a row in London.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need as a Jets. Let's make let's just go to London, a 9:30 game. Let's just make all these weird factors so that maybe the other team fucks up again.
Yeah,
you're going to win. Next level strats. Lions, Bears. Man, the Lions, man, they just can't get it going. It's every freaking game. They're not able to play a complete game. You and I both kind of thought, I didn't take the Lions, I think you might have, that we would finally see the Lions play a complete football game. They just couldn't do shit the first half. They were turning the ball over, gifting the Bears points. The Bears were gifted a 14-0 lead. And then once again, we see the Lions kind of turn it on the second half. It just was a little bit too little too late. They
had that last-minute drive to try to punch it in there, and that they didn't get it. Just Lions, they're a bad football team, but I thought they would win that game.
I will say, Jared Goff really isn't the problem, though. Like,
Oh
the Jared
no,
Goff is actually playing pretty well.
so is Swift. Maybe not in that
Well,
game.
that last game.
Yeah, not in that game. But one thing is, T.J. Hawkinson got off to this crazy hot start, right? Week 1 and week 2. Week 3 and week 4, we just gonna band him in the hole? Like, I just feel
Seems
like
like he's kind of gone back to the T.J. Hawkinson he was last year, right?
yeah,
Where
it's
he's like a 4 or 5 catch, 50-yard kind of guy every game.
yeah, I thought this guy was on the verge of being like the next come. He still could be. I mean, it's only 2 weeks where like his production wasn't there, but I I thought like the Lions like kind of had like this little like OP strat. It's like, okay, at the end of the day, we're just gonna give it to Hawkinson, And I think that like because like that seems like how they moved the ball well right there. It was either they threw it to Hawkinson, passing attack. They threw it to Hawkinson or somehow hit Cephas for a big play. I don't know. I do think Jared Goff is, like he's a viable option if you want to make him your quarterback for this rebuilding the Lions and try to build a team around him, though.
Yeah, it's just a weird game, right? And it's just I don't know. The Bears just seem to own the Lions for some reason. Now the Bears lose David Montgomery, which sucks.
Yeah, that's huge.
David Montgomery has been a godsend to that football team.
Especially in that first quarter.
Dude, he looks elite. I mean, he looked. It stinks that he got hurt because this guy's been having an absolutely tremendous season. Now, Justin Fields just got named the starter for the rest of the way. Like, what is your opinion on the Bears going forward? I don't like the Bears, to be honest. I think they suck.
Dude, I still don't like that offense. I do unless like their defense gets some turnovers, he gets some good field position, keeps them in games. Like that's the only way. Like if they got to play a team straight up, they're going to lose. That offense is not going to move the ball, especially with David Montgomery out. Justin Fields, I don't think he's ready yet, and you're going to throw him in the pit of the fire. Was he better than he was 2 weeks ago against the Browns? Yeah, but like still at the end of the day, you didn't see anything like, oh well, this is interesting. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Without David Montgomery, I don't know what the hell. What is Justin Fields going to do?
I would be shocked. Like depending on who they play on their schedule, but I mean they're not going to be there. This is like they're not going to be in these playoff hunts with some of these teams, because they just can't hang with them unless Justin Fields turns on some magic, But right now, what I see out of Justin Fields is a deer in headlights. I think he's scared. We're playing scared.
I wouldn't put. I just think he's not ready to play. The problem I have with Fields, I don't trust this dude to throw the ball 25 times a game. I really don't.
Well, you didn't have to. You had David Montgomery.
Well, yeah. Now that you don't have David Montgomery, what the hell is going to happen? Like, okay, if Damian Williams or Khalil Herbert's able to step in and just be David Montgomery, like, okay, that would be nuts. I really don't expect that to happen. Like, I just don't understand what they're going to do. Just be like, you're going to have to throw the ball. Justin Fields is going to have to go out there and start making plays. So good luck, bud. Colts Dolphins. That's a weird football game. I mean, it was kind of a snoozer. The Dolphins weren't able to do like anything until the end of the football game, I'm pretty sure. So are the Dolphins just going to suck the entire season? Is that what's going to happen?
Dude, I do not believe in that. Well, I think it's their offense for me, right? Their offense doesn't move the ball, doesn't put up points. It's like
the problem is 2 offensive coordinators does not work. It has never worked. Why did Brian Flores think it's a good Brian Flores? You were a great defensive coach, right? And I think you're a good head coach. I think the Dolphins organization is fine. Why are we trying to do this crazy, stupid bullshit on offense? Just hire an actual good offensive coordinator. There's good ones out there. You could have had. I don't know. I do not like this football team. It's why I took the under. This team is just ridiculous. They had a slam dunk for an offseason, and they did some stupid trades. They did stupid bullshit. They got a little tinkery stuff, and now you fucked it. I think this team's just going to suck.
Yeah, I mean, their defense might be able to win them a couple games if they, like, turn them into turnovers, turn into points, but Yeah, they had to play a team straight up. I don't think they beat them. like, I, either if Jacoby Brissett or Tua is playing, I don't see them moving the ball. They can't run the ball. They can't throw the ball. They can't catch the ball. There's just like it's something. Their offense is like horrendous to watch.
Maybe it can turn around. Like, because I agree with you. Like, defensively, the team's still good, but yikes, it's a big yikes for the Dolphins right now.
Mm-hmm.
Washington football team against the Falcons. That rough loss for your Falcons, man. I must say
Uh,
that's a classic Falcons performance. No matter who's coaching the team, no matter what year it is.
it's like, dude, when are you just gonna learn how to close out a game? Like,
Yeah, right.
like I
It's funny
mean,
too because I was talking with my friends. I'm like, during the game, I'm like, dude, you know exactly what's going to happen at the end of this football game. You're
oh,
up
I
like
knew. I
2
was reading
points.
it. I
All
was
the
reading it.
Falcons fans know exactly that they are going to find a way to lose this football game.
I was
Dude, did
reading
you
it.
see the one play where Taylor Heineke chucks it in the air? You're talking about
Oh,
the one dude. He chucks that. He was a Hail Mary prayer, and none of the Falcons are looking for the football.
yeah, and it just falls in Scary Terry's arms for a touchdown. I thought that was. Yeah, They made Heineke look like damn Tom Brady out there. The defense is horrible. Another bone I got to pick to it, and this is when I knew we lost the game. Right, is that when the football team scored, did get the 2-point conversion. Right, so it was. What was the score?
Was
Okay,
it 30-28?
No, it was 34-29. It was 30-20. Was it 30-29? Was that the score?
30-28.
30-28, right? So yeah, we get the ball, and Arthur Smith, what a game plan right here from the young coach. Can't wait to see what he's made out of later on. He just, calls a run play, goes negative yards. Okay, all right, sweet. Okay, take some time off. Next play, call a run play. Okay, get like 1 yard out of it. Sick. 3rd and 11, screenplay behind the line of scrimmage. Don't get anything. 3 and out, game over. Because this defense, you're trusting the Falcons defense. What are you doing? You got Matt Ryan, who's already thrown for 4 touchdowns. He's got 300 yards. Just put the ball in his hands and let him make a play. Like, it's just crazy.
I don't think I think there's a curse in the franchise. I don't think there's anything you could do to not blow a lead in that scenario. You knew it was coming. Everyone knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming, but I just you get 1 first down, the game's over. And it's just crazy. The choices of what was picked there, was horrendous to me. And, like the injuries keep piling up too, because now Isaiah Oliver's hurt, who I've talked shit on in the past, but actually was having a pretty decent season. Like one of the 2 players on this defense to be playing good, he's done for the season. So it's unraveling fast. I just kind of hope they lose to the Jets. Screw it, dude. Burn it down.
All right, Rams blow the doors off the Cardinals blow the doors off the Rams. That was a little bit of a surprising performance because usually it was the other way around where the Rams destroy the Cardinals. Cardinals just showed up. Apparently they're legit.
Yeah. They're here. That was a big statement win, I feel like, more for them because like the Rams have already had them. Like, right, you blow out the Bears Sunday night, then you got to play the Bucs. You blow out the Bucs. And this was a big question for the Cardinals is like, you're starting 3-0. Like, you've had a couple games where you look really great, but then there's others that's like, we don't know. Is this the same Cardinals team? And then here comes, MVP Kyler. It puts up 2 quick touchdowns, and they kind of never looked back after that. It was kind of hard for the Rams to get back in that game. James Conner had a good day too. Like, he looked good running the ball. The Cardinals are a good team. I don't know if they're going to win this division. I think the Rams still have the better roster, but I mean, they're going to be there in that playoff push.
The thing that I really liked about this game from Kyler was that he proved that he is an elite passer of the football. That he's not just one of those dudes that like is always making shit happen off script and his legs are what carries him, right? kind of what the narrative has been for
Yeah,
Lamar
no, he
Jackson.
sat
I
in
don't
the
want to bring
pocket.
Lamar Jackson into this, but like Kyler Murray against the Rams, I mean Stafford too, but like he was insane.
Mm-hmm.
It was perfect quarterback play against an elite defense where he was not able to just be like, oh, hey D Hop, go moss some people. Oh, hey D Hop, let's throw a Hail Mary and beat a football team that was better than us. Like, no. They went from the first snap to the last. He was insane. And obviously, everyone's going to say, like, well, he's been insane. And I agree. But, like, this was the game against an elite team that he showed Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury, the relationship that they have, the chemistry between the two, and Kyler Murray as a passer have all taken the next step.
Yeah, again, like we said beginning of this year, they were just 1 year too early on the Cardinals. I think this is their year. They finally turn it around. You see very early success. As long as Kyler's healthy, the team will be on go.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he doesn't have another injury at the end of next year. But like even so, man, like he just looks comfortable. He looks so comfortable as a passer now. He's on
Oh, he's
schedule with
confident.
his throws. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, he's
And on
confident.
top of the
He's in a
fact that
good rhythm.
he can do some Madden bullshit where he just runs around everyone until someone gets open.
Yeah, he's in a good rhythm. I mean, he's fun to watch.
Seahawks 49ers. This was a really weird football. It just felt like the Niners were like, I don't know what it was. It just felt like they never got going. Like they never really showed up.
I don't know. Like I caught bits and pieces. It was really
so,
because they got off to a quick 7-0 lead, right?
Yeah, they got off to the second 7-0 lead, but after that it was like all Seahawks.
Yeah, it was like they had a couple stands on their defense where it kept it 7-0, and then eventually, Russ got loose. Now I saw the very end. I'm not sure, but I saw Trey Lance playing. Did he bench Jimmy G or
Jimmy G got hurt?
Okay, he got hurt again. God,
Mm-hmm.
that dude sucks. All right, well, is it bad? Like,
I think he's like week to week. To be honest, seeing what we saw from Jimmy G on a bummed like leg last year, bummed ankle,
probably don't play him.
Yeah, I'm just playing Lance. I thought Lance has actually looked really good. Niners are such a weird team, man. 1 week they look. It's not even 1 week. 1 quarter they look amazing. The next quarter they look like they don't know what the hell they're doing. The personnel is all over the place. To be completely honest, this season to me has made me question Kyle Shanahan a little bit, just because I'm just like tired of some of the inconsistencies around the football team. I feel like Kyle Shanahan has a whole bunch of players that he just doesn't trust outside of like George Kittle and Kyle Juszczyk
and
Debo. Like outside of them, it's like he just doesn't trust anyone. I don't know what the hell to think of this because I still like Kyle Shanahan. I still like the Niners. I think they're a good team. It's like, what the hell is going on though? Because it's not like the Seahawks aren't a team that's the Seahawks defense from last year has reared its ugly head. You go and look at these games, there are guys wide open, uncovered left, right, and center still. It's not like there was much change. It's just somehow the Niners weren't able to take advantage.
Yeah, it's definitely a question the 49ers being crushable because, like, you could easily look at it. They probably should have beat the Packers, right? So, like, are we really questioning there? It's still time to play with this team, I think. I don't think they're
I'm
pretenders.
not selling. I'm not out. It's just I'm annoyed. Like this. You look at on paper their roster coming into the season, their coaching staff coming, everything, right? You were hard pressed to find a real flaw of the 49ers, especially looking at that freaking offense. You look at their offense at the beginning of the season, you're like, well, how are people going to stop this? Like they are insane at basically every position.
Yeah.
And what the hell happened last night? You're only putting up 21 points against a defense that sucks.
Yeah, defense is terrible.
It's bad. It is like really bad. They have good players, but they are bad.
Yeah, they're bad. They're a bad unit. it'd be interesting to see what the 49ers do because I do like to cheer for Shanny. I hope he does figure it out. But again, I've talked about this in the past, and you brought it kind of back up when you're saying it. What the hell has Shanahan done? Great offensive mind. I still think he's a top coach, but he's made playoffs one year, made the Super Bowl. Did his same old shit where he doesn't run the ball with a lead, so that's cool. But other than that, it's been losing season after losing season. Now, we come back in. Hopefully, everybody stays healthy. Quick 2-0 start. Lose a heartbreaker against the Packers. Can't score against the Seahawks. How are you going to bounce back to this? Because you're 2-2, right? And the Seahawks are going to be there because they have Russ. The Cardinals just took down the Rams, and Kyler looks like he's the MVP. So there's that. And then you got the Rams, who had the better roster of all these teams. So where do you fall in that mix? Are you going to fall out? Or are you gonna figure it out, right? Are you gonna figure it out now, or are we just gonna see you kind of fall back, be a 500 team, play some people tough? Oh, we might upset you this week, we might not. What is your identity? Because I don't right now for the 49ers, to me, I don't know.
I actually think that's a really good point because, looking at the division, you were supposed to be, if you're the Niners, right, and you're a Niners believer and whatnot, the team that you're supposed to be beating is the Seahawks in this division.
Yeah.
You can make excuses for not, oh, well, the Cardinals are just, they're really good, right? Kyler Murray's at his peak and whatnot. He's had an MVP season. Oh, the Rams, they have a sick head coach and the best roster. The Seahawks, though, I'm not saying the Seahawks are a bad team. It's just, there's no excuse for not beating the Seahawks, right? Okay, yeah, they have the better quarterback. That's it. Maybe they have better receivers. That's it.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know. Maybe it was, I don't know. Maybe Trey Lance will come in and just really kind of take it over. Because if Jimmy's not able to go next week, this is a big opportunity for Trey Lance to really take the holds of it. If he goes out there, wins, and plays, pretty good, I think Shannon would move on.
All right, Ravens, Broncos. Ravens have a big win against the Broncos. Freaking, what's his name? Teddy Bridgewater gets injured, didn't play. I think he got injured right around halftime. So Drew Lock reared his ugly head once again for this football team. Any not necessarily panic, but what are you thinking of the Broncos? Just an off game, or do you think that this was just a long time coming to a certain extent? The season has gotten off too good for them.
I think that it was a big reason why I took the Ravens, and everybody said it was crazy. But I
would have taken the Broncos. I'll give you that.
Because this was a prove it game to me, right? And it's like said Teddy got hurt, and there's a reason why Drew Lock's not starting. But still, at the end of the day, it's just I don't know what to make of this team, because you start 3-0 and you played a bunch of nobodies. Maybe that Giants win looks a little better now, but you play against a contender right here and you just lose by a couple scores,
at home too.
At home, and it's just I still don't think the Broncos are a playoff team. This would not shock me if they're the team that started off 3-0 and end up to be
the
8,
new
9,
Raiders.
9,
They're the new Raiders.
Maybe the Raiders are still the Raiders after Monday, but who knows?
I mean, I gotta give. I mean, we gave credit to Lamar last week, but once again, you talk about another guy that showed up as a passer again. It's not like Lamar was doing anything crazy on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
He beat the Broncos defense. It's a good Broncos defense. It's not like he didn't do anything crazy, right? The Broncos only put up 7 points, but dude had over 300 passing yards. He had that big ass touchdown to Hollywood Brown. And to be honest, if the Broncos were actually in the game, I think Lamar goes even crazier. So good for Lamar Jackson. He's just kind of proven everyone wrong that he is a passer of the football.
Yeah, 100% is.
Bucks Patriots. This is a weird game because Brady just did not get off to a great start. Maybe it was the weather. I actually think
I think it was
the
Belichick.
nerves.
I think it was the nerves, and Belichick was kind of.
So Belichick was throwing the book at him. Belichick, they were switching up the coverage every drive. They were switching up the philosophy every drive. The Patriots have done that before. but it definitely worked, and it was kind of giving the Bucks offense fits. But I gotta say, come the end of that game, Brady was on fire.
Oh, he
Um,
wanted to win that game so bad.
Dude, did you see that one pass to freaking AB at the very end, where
Yeah.
in the end zone, where AB kind of dropped? That was honestly one of the most ridiculous passes I think I've ever seen.
Hmm.
That ball was perfect. Like the window for that throw was like, I feel like a fingernail long. Like it was minuscule.
Yeah. Just too bad it was dropped.
But I mean, there's no surprise here. I think we all knew that whether the game was close or not, I think I was expecting a little bit more of a blowout for the Bucks. But regardless, like even if it was a close game, Brady was going to come out with this win. There was no way that wasn't happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of rooting on old Mac Jones and the Patriots to win there because, like, I thought that'd just be kind of cool, like New
Be a fun
England.
headline.
Yeah, but yeah, Brady was going to win that game regardless. But I mean, like, they were struggling, dude. They were struggling to score points, and
Mac
it
Jones
wasn't.
looked great too. 18 straight completions at one point against that Bucks defense.
Yeah, well, the secondary's been a little sus this year, but
Yeah, they had a lot of secondary injuries, but
Richard Sherman first game, he had a couple penalties, that kind of cost him on some drives a little bit here. But again, like that first touchdown drive Matt Jones had, there was a couple times where the Patriots would get pushed back, either holding or something, and well, they're just shooting themselves in the foot, and then Mac Jones would come down and deliver a big pass, and then they keep moving the ball. Yeah, I thought, especially with that pass rush just in your grill, like it's like they were getting after him. I thought he like sat back in the pocket, made some really good throws. Obviously he threw 18 19 straight completions. Yeah, I thought that was a big takeaway too. Mac Jones looks like New England, even though you saw the GOAT, your former quarterback, beat you on the field. It looks like you have a nice little piece
well, the other thing
on your
too,
own.
this game kind of reminded you. Remember that Patriots Chiefs game last year, where the Patriots were
Oh
in
yeah,
that
yeah.
football game and then they
And
kind of just lost it because
Hoyer
their offense
started.
sucked ass.
Yeah.
This reminded me a little bit like that. It's just the Patriots defense didn't make as many plays, but if this team is playing like that against the Bucks, this definitely is a playoff caliber. I'm not saying guaranteed or anything like that, but this is a playoff caliber football team in the Patriots because you're not going to be playing Brady every week. If you're playing like this, and it's not like they could run the ball, but if you're playing at this level, and if that defense that they had, if they have one strip sack, that's a win for the Patriots. Because like in that Chiefs game, if you remember, that defense was making plays left, right, and center. They had multiple turnovers. Like if you have one of those major plays that they had in that Chiefs game, that's a win for the Patriots.
Or you just go for it on 4th and 3. But like, I mean, I would have went for it, but I understand taking the kick. But also,
yeah, that
I
was a little crazy. It's just that Bucks. I don't know.
well, I
That's a
feel like the
crazy
Bucks would
call.
have made a play, but I would have said like, hell it, just screw it, let's go.
I don't know. That is weird. That's a weird scenario. I think I agree with you though. Just because even if you do make it, like Brady's still got a chance to win it. Like I'm not. I don't. If I have that, if I'm in that shoes, right? If I'm in those shoes, I want to make the play with the time expiring.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a kick with like 3 seconds left, well, yeah, you can't do anything. But I agree with you there.
I think another big takeaway from this game is not actually what happened on the field. Well, it happened on the field, but I think Belichick's son, dude, and that dude,
The faces.
that dude wanted that, dude. He was locked in. He wanted that. I don't know.
He called a good game.
I really that was Sunday night's been hitting pretty good so far besides week 1, but that game was a really, because it felt like more of a movie kind of script or like a Super Bowl-esque kind of game, just kind of like how the tensions are. Like Brady even said like he was going to treat it like a Super Bowl, and Belichick on the other hand, like he just wants to beat Brady. You know, like they both want to beat each other, but it's still like a respect thing at the end of the day. And then like you got the newcomer who's taking over Brady's spot. Can he top him off? Like it's just really cool, like headlines all over the place. But I still would have went for it on 4th and 3. But you know, is what it is.
Last game, Raiders Chargers. Rough loss for the Raiders. I think that people may look a little bit too far into this game. First things first, Chargers defense. Wow. They're
Good.
legit. And they were getting
so good.
they were getting to Derek Carr all night, and there were plays where Derek Carr kind of gave up on plays a little bit early because that rush was getting there. It was definitely phasing him a little bit. At the same time, though, I'm going to be the guy to say I like the Chargers. I think they've definitely proved me wrong a little bit. I think they're getting too much credit, though.
If they're getting too much credit?
I think they're getting too much credit.
I don't know. That was a very dominant. Like their defense is so good when like fully healthy.
Yeah, but
like,
we're gonna see against the Browns this week. I
Yeah,
want to pick the Browns. Right now, the Browns are favorites. I would love taking the Browns at any plus odds because I think the Browns match up really well to the Chargers. I think the Chargers are good, but right now people are crowning them as the best team like in football, and I am not ready to go that far.
No, okay, I wouldn't go that far. Like from most improved from last year, or like you know that stretch where they won like 6 in a row last year, and or like 5, and they came in and they've kind of like capitalized off that and playing really well. I think it's still like kind of because like who have you beaten, right? Like you beat the Chiefs, congrats. But like again, that Chiefs defense is sus, and you played them tough like every year. That's a rivalry game. That's in division. Okay, the Raiders like sometimes the Raiders just don't even show up, you know, and like you stop their like offense, and of course like their defense ain't gonna do anything. So I don't know. I think
Raiders
the Browns
got some rough calls in that game too.
Yeah,
that one play at the end of the first half where Josh Jacobs, I mean, I thought he had the first down. And when Brandon Staley challenge, I mean, it's a good challenge. It's a smart challenge because it's really essentially a timeout anyway. But like, I did not think that should have been overturned. No shot.
Yeah.
And that killed him. And then the Chargers went and they scored again.
Like, yeah, that was that touchdown to Eckler. He had a good game too.
Yeah, he did have a very good game.
He's had a pretty good season, but I don't know. I think the Chargers are a fun team to watch.
Definitely, they're a fun team. And Asante Samuel Jr. is a fucking beast.
I mean, that whole defense is just crazy. As long as what? Oh,
peep this bad boy. Peep this Asante Samuel Jr. Let me see. Let's see if I can get it not in the glare. It's not working too well. Yeah, you like that bad boy? Rookie card.
Nice. That is nice.
Oh, you want to see other stonkage real quick? You want to know who's been playing well? Sorry, I have to show it off. Kenny Gainwell, baby. Bang.
He is actually playing a lot.
A 1 in 10. I'm a professional stonker. Sorry, what were you saying?
I can't remember now. I think I like to see the Chargers face up against the Browns, though. I think that'd be a good matchup.
I'm taking the Browns.
I'm taking the Browns. Of course, I'm taking the Browns. But I hope we could get some line movement in favor of the Chargers. Let some people hit the Chargers. Public's going to go Chargers. Be like, oh, well, Baker sucks. He can only score 14 points against the Vikings.
So. I saw the line has been moving towards the Browns a little bit, but I think that's because people also are like me seeing the plus money and like, hell yeah, I'll take that. I think it's just going to be an even pick'em kind of a game.
That's fine, man.
And I guess the last thing I like is that I'm pretty sure the Chargers are home, but the Chargers don't have fans. They don't exist.
You saw it last game. It was like 70% Raiders fans.
But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching the tube, hit us with subscribe. We would really appreciate it. Steed, good episode this week. I thought it was a good one.
Oh, yeah.
We have picks on Friday that we're going to be streaming. Steed, you going to be around Friday night for some picks?
Braves play game 1 at 4:30, so After?
the Braves game. So right after the Braves game, tune in. We're gonna be taking some juicers. We're both up over 4. I think I'm like 6.5, and you're at like 5 or something up units. We're both up units on our picks for the year. So
Nice.
tune into that if you're interested on some juicers. If not, peace out. We enjoyed having you here.